Welcome back, and this video is going to be at project house number 1, and we're going to be working on leveling out this front yard and a little bit of this side yard. The front yard is really wavy, it holds a bunch of water, so we're just going to try to get to one smooth grade. And this is just at the beginning, pushing the first little bit of dirt off, and then here's coming from the top. But basically this is just Blake's just taking the sod off, and we're going to try to get to one grade. There's after about 5-10 minutes. It was going pretty quick. Here's later on that day. You can kind of see it's a lot more level now. All the hills are gone, and it's just a lot nicer grade. So now this is the back addition, and we're going to work on tearing it off. It wasn't really built the way I would have done it. It did work. I mean, it looked nice, but it just wasn't built where I would say properly. So I'm just ripping the siding off, and luckily the sheeting was just foam board, so it came off pretty easy, except for the few minor places it was in a stud. Then you had to work on it a little bit more, but it's ripping off there fairly easily. And the reason I'm taking all this siding off first is because I'm going to use the excavator later to collapse it, and I just don't want to get glass everywhere. So I'm pulling the siding off so I can then pull these windows out and then collapse it after the windows are out. And my parents said they might want these windows for their camper there. They're pretty nice aluminum windows. They're just single pane, but they're in decent shape, and they got screens, so they should work. But here you just see me keep ripping this paneling off, and or this siding off, and it comes off very easily. This side was pretty rotten, so the one window there I was actually able to rip out without even taking screws out. It just pulled right out. The wood behind it was so rotten, so that was nice. The rest of them I had to take a little drill and take the screws out around the flange to pull it out. But there you can kind of see it's just 1/2 inch foam board, and that's what they use for sheeting here. So I don't know if that's how they used to do it back in the day, but that definitely wouldn't be how you'd want to do it now. Wouldn't get it much shear strength. But this side, the siding actually was coming off pretty good, but it's coming off in such a big pieces. It just ripped right off. So I thought this window, I was going to get lucky and be able to pull it out all at once as well, but that was not the case. This one was actually probably the most secured window, which is hard to believe just by how easy the rest of the siding came off. But this window, I got it out, all these windows. This took maybe 10 minutes total to take this siding off and get these windows out. It was a very simple process. And there I'm just trying to rip it out because I was like, maybe the whole thing will come out, but it didn't. So I'm just taking a little channel for the siding out around the outside of the window, and then back behind that is the nailing flange for the window itself. And here's another little picture of the backyard, and you can see there's a ditch now going the whole property line, and that's helping to dry it out. And then back here, this is just before we tear it down, the windows are out. On the right and the left, there was a couple screws holding it in, and then at the top, it's just nailed in. So this video here is in 2x speed, so it's a little bit sped up, although it really doesn't look too fast, but it is in 2x speed, and it's just nailed on, and they just nailed the header board up there, just right through the siding and right into the sheeting behind it, so it really was not held on there good at all. It was just a bunch of nails. So the biggest problem with getting that top piece off was just all the nails were at different angles, so it just held on to the siding. But like it wasn't held on to anything behind it, it was just pulling the whole siding out with it. But it came out off really easy. This was maybe 20 minutes total from the time I started disconnected from the house, taking the siding, pulling the windows, to the time it's completely on the ground. And here it's just pulling off, trying to get those out one at a time. And in a minute here, I realized there's an electric line running through the ceiling that I didn't see originally, so that was actually holding that piece in a lot better than the nails and other stuff. So you're seeing when I go there with the Sawzall and chop that electric line, and all the electrics off at this property, so there was really no concern to take the Sawzall to the electric line, but that's not something I'd advise if the electric was on. But here, that's when I go over there and look, and I was like, oh, there's some 12-2 wire holding on. I guess that stuff's a lot stronger than you'd think. And they must have had it really secured inside. But here, I'll chop that off, and then the rest of this will just come caving in. Yep, and then here's the last piece. And I'm stuck on there a little bit on the siding, so I'll just go pull that down because there's just a couple nails, and try to save as much siding as possible, even though this whole house, all the siding's coming off in a couple days. Just trying to keep it as intact as we can until then. Here is the finished job. The back porch is completely off. The underlayment or the decking wasn't even secured to the house at all, so that made it pretty nice to get it off. The top part, it just was right through the siding itself, which isn't how I would have probably done it, but it did get the job done for however long the thing was there. And then here's just another look at the backyard. Or this is like right to the side of the house, and you can see that ditch running all the way down. And then we'll take a look at the front yard. And this isn't the finished product because it was pretty wet, so it looks a lot better now. It's a lot smoother now, but even in this picture, it's way better than it was. And there's the septic there. We were able to find that last week, but now it should be a nice semi-level-ish front yard, and it should have drainage to get to the right or left side and then run off and not be just a swamp like it has been. And this ditch, as soon as it was cut in, it has running water running in it, so, and it's been running for the past couple days as well, so that's helping a lot, just to have that little tiny ditch keeping that water running off the side of the property versus in it. And then that front porch is going to be the next one to come off, so stay tuned.